We are told that the 13 heavens are light-based frequencies that our solar system will pass through. 13 converging light-based heavens or beacons that would catapult us into oblivion or usher us into a paradise of one conscious space and time. This is the time known as the time of the 13 lords of light and the 9 lords of darkness. The 13 lords of light and the 9 lords of darkness. Now, if you don't think that the Illuminati is seriously into using information as their own, you're going to miss it. Last time I showed you this symbol, but inside of all the symbols, hopefully you've done your homework, inside of all of the symbols, you will understand that they are constantly giving you symbols like the number 13. So in the McDonald's symbols, you get the number 13 hidden. In the RB symbol, you get the number 13. So each time that we are about to ascend to a new place, the Illuminati already has the sigils. Remember that word, S-I-G-I-L, sigils, in place to co-opt whatever light code frequencies would give us engrammic imprints, symbols for our own mind to conceive and congeal and coagulate into reality. So these sigils put up all over the place like Exxon with the double cross. Every one of these symbols that you see have a purpose to offset your thinking process, to offset your higher dynamic thinking process. Put out the light for a minute, please. This is the 13th number of the tarot card deck. The 13 represents death, but only to the uninitiated. 13 represents a transition from the old to the new. And if you look down here, you will see that the fish on the head is standing on the ground where everything else death has stepped on and is going to be walking across. The old paradigm is gone. But if you notice in the background, this is how I will show you that the towers themselves were built on a vortex to be destroyed in this time. Because in the background, you will notice 2 towers. And beyond those towers, what do you see? Sun. The sun, representing what? Light and a new day, a new dawn. So, how does the Illuminati circumvent your ability again to have a sigil? You look at the back here and you will see that this is, forget all of this. These are the symbols to make them recognize where it is they're going with their information. The 5, what we're going to get to later. All of this information is symbolic. You know that the Pope himself is entreating death. Death gonna step on his ass too. But on this, you will see that this is where you are to keep your focus if you are initiated. So if you look at the horizon, you will see that the Illuminati has already circumvented the intuitive sigils that the new time is going to broadcast to you through the DAC code transmissions. You will always be receiving new data for the new time. But if you want to control somebody, you want to make sure that they do not have the ability to access those codes. So what do? You put up symbols that interfere. And again, you see the one who was running for president, his company.
The one-armed bandit.
The one-armed bandit. Yeah. True that. Now, we have accomplished half of the journey. That is, to the final cycle of darkness, to the ninth gate of chaos, where humanity is now participating in a pathological indulgence with its own self-destruction. The choice from here on is spirituality. It is prosper spirituality or perish. And this is the problem. The great question now becomes, as we stumble through this maze of madness, will we be cogent enough to recognize or calculate the codes of redemption in time to save our own asses? In fact, it may be more safe to put the transition time for our planet at 2010 through 2024. The Olmec Mayan calendar Aztecs say, and I quote, this is a quote from their prophecies: "Know that for 5 full cycles of the dawn star, the rule of the warlike strangers would grow into greater and greater orgies of death and destruction. Also, remember well what I have taught you, and return not to the ways of the serpent and the sacrificers, to the eating of flesh and the drinking of blood. This path will lead only to the final destruction. Know that the end time will come in 5 full cycles of the dawn star, for the cosmos is eternal and never fails. For 5 is the number of the earth being 8. Now, the dawn star is what? Venus. Venus is who? Lucifer. Venus cycles the earth every 104 years. You take the 5 cycles mentioned earlier and multiply them by 104, and you get 520 years. These 520 years, according to the Olmec calendar, comes due 2012. The number of the earth frequency is 8, thus the 8-pointed star. Now, the number 5 is actually the difference between the 8, which is the number of the earth, and the harmonic number 13, which is the number of the children of destruction. The number 5 is the number of the children of destruction. The word earth, and here's what you have to understand. The word earth is actually to mean the destination of all things manifested in matter through the agency of the 4 basic elements. This is the secret of Solomon's temple. The word earth, as we use earth, has nothing to do with the planet. The word earth is all that is manifested. Everything that is in material form is earth. Just because you don't see legs sprouting out of the planet does not mean that it is not conscious and is happening right now to be evolving. So when you look at the word Solomon, you will see that the central 4 is expressed as the first mathematical number from which all elements of the spirit and the numbers 1, 2, and 3, the next harmonic 4 being the vibrational matrix of matter. So what you are looking at here is that 1, 2, 3, 3 representing the first closed circuit. The first closed circuit in the etheric plane, the plane of fire, thus coming down into the realm of matter. All 3 of these being the preliminary numerics that drop into matter, into the 3rd density realm when the 4 elements comes due. But overstanding. And I'm giving this to you in the beginning before we go forward. The number 4 is the pivotal integer in the numerics of the word Solomon. It also represents the inner sanctuary of every manifested temple in nature. The sum of each couple, 8, or the first principle of containment, is the cube. So if you double the 4, and this is just giving you preliminaries. If you double the 4, you essentially end up getting the cube. The cube is the first containment for which all the elements on the higher plane and the lower plane come together to create third density. And that's where you get the 12 apostles from, because the 12 apostles that come together to create the 13th, which is that circle within the middle, that gives us our point of reference for third density. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It becomes the structure that brings together the cube. Those particular parts are called the 12 apostles that actually framed or brought Jesus, Jesus supposedly brought them together to create manifested density in matter. Now, 8 equals the number of all the elements manifested, thus the number of earth, the container of all elements. Now, the ancient Olmec said, when they have polluted the earth, this is another one, to such an extent that the number of earth becomes as 13, then in that moment shall they be no more. Again, the difference between the earth harmonic 8 and the so-called Christ harmonic 13 is 5. In numerical frequency of Solomon, we find that Solomon represents matter as perfected being, as expounded in the Hermetic doctrine, where the 4 consonants symbolize the evolution of matter through the 4 objective states. Now, we told you that 5 was the number of the children of destruction. On the higher metaphysical realms, what does that mean? If you look at Solomon and the consonants of Solomon, SLMN, it breaks down into the objective states of being. The objective states of being are mineral, vegetable, animal, and human. Objective means that which is expressed. Subjective, which means that is which is impressed. If you look at the Temple Solomon, and we are looking at creation as we look at Solomon, because Solomon never existed. Solomon simply is a metaphysical principle. If you look at the dynamics and the mathematics of Solomon, you will see 1, 3, 5, and 7. But you will see that what they mean is that the children of destruction are on which realm? The animal realm, dealing with their lusts, their immediate physical egotistical gratification. They have not yet ascended to the cycle that gives them the pivot, that gives them self-realization. And all of those who are in Circle 7 know what I'm talking about. The energy itself, with the consonants and objective states of being, means that all of the vibrational levels, from mineral to vegetable, right now, everything from this point here is being destroyed. Symbolically as well as intuitively. And if you follow through or follow them, no matter how frightening and how mad and crazy it gets, if you follow through with the beast and pick up on the 5 harmonic, you're going down with them. And the only way that you will find yourself is if you submit to this. The prophets go on to say, the dream shall alter as our Father in heaven, Hu Nab-Ku, has a plan. A great plan that cannot be altered. There shall be a shifting, a great shaking, and all things shall be touched, even the stones, and in a moment there shall be a newness and a great swelling of light that will fill the heavens and block out even the light of our own sun in its brightness. And the world shall split all will in the heavens in that moment. And in that moment you shall be where your heart is, and for time as we know it shall be no more. Time as we know it shall be no more. You can read about this in Robert Ghostwolf's book called Days of Destiny. Another good book that you need to read is called A Monument to the End of Time. A Monument to the End of Time by Vincent Bridges and Jay Weidner. Now, this was found in a small place in France. It's called the Hendaye Cross. It's in a little village called Hendaye. And I'll get into it the next time because it's very complicated, though it speaks to what is happening right now. This is what were on it. These are the symbols. You have something erected in France that has Olmec Mayan carvings on it. What were they trying to say at that particular point? On that particular cross, down here being the part that you see here, that's the sun. Well, actually, this is the way it is. This is the sun. This is the moon. Look at it. These are the four elements, and that is the earth. How many points? 8, exactly. Now, do you see something familiar on that cross? Procter & Gamble knows what time it is. The beast knows what time it is. You don't. Y'all keep running the damn church, looking at a goddamn cross that ain't got nothing to say. What is happening is that the Olmecs came here to establish a time frequency and a portal of consciousness. And this is where all the shit, the clearing, all the fucked up things that's going to be happening to us as a people, this is where it's going to do the purging ground. Africa ain't doing shit. Africa ain't doing a damn thing except becoming Christian. Africa ain't doing a damn thing except becoming Muslim. Africa ain't doing a damn thing except becoming Jewish. And until they start wiping out all of the old, dead carcasses that keep walking into them damn churches, you will continue to suffer for not going through the portal that is being created here for you, because the shit's gonna close up. They are trying to shut down the consciousness that is necessary to keep the portal open. By what? Yeah, but you see, there's two different types of fear. I told you that fear is false evidence appearing real, check? But you know, fear is also flat earth analog relativity. What was the Europeans' concept of the planet? Flat! How the hell are you gonna look up at the earth, look up at a full moon and think the earth is flat? That's where his mind is. He's in a flat earth analog. What's an analog? Something that imitates. Something that's like something. So he has created an analog relativity with his virtual reality that you now sink your consciousness into, called the web. And you have taken your attention and put it into that reversed I have Heru, which now gives you information rather than tapping you into your spirituality. I can deluge you with shit, man, and that thing has so much information that you could never in your rest of your life tap into it. But that's the distraction. If we don't take what we do find there and convert that shit and then shut it down, and then maybe another month maybe come back to see where we at, then what we are doing is we are lockstepping into the flat earth analog relativity that they're structuring for us. And we have become lockstepped into it. Now, having begun our journey from a metaphysical tip, I will now take us through the present trials that we as dream walkers and dream changers and dream makers face. These trials are just the beginning. If you focus your second attention and even your third attention, you will see that the trials are coming in sequences. The more desperate the acts of the beasthood, the stranger, the more potent the response of nature. Therefore, beloved, there will be, and in your second and third attention, is a focus. You will discover in that focus that the one who is truly conducting the campaign of biowarfare on us is the planet Mother Earth herself. This ain't shit. There ain't no real biochemical war.